Figma just handed every designer in the world an AI animation studio, and almost nobody's talking about it. At Config 2026, the design platform announced two genuinely game-changing features: AI-powered motion graphics and AI shader generation. Think of it this way: if you've ever wanted to create a professional animation but didn't have weeks of training in After Effects or shader programming, Figma just made that possible. This isn't some half-baked generative AI toy you've seen before. This is Figma building AI directly into their core design canvas, and it's about to change how millions of people work every single day. The big story isn't that AI can do design tasks now. We already know that's true. The story is that Figma's putting these capabilities in the hands of 4 million designers who have never touched animation software before. And here's the thing that changes everything. This signals a massive industry change. Design tools are no longer static sketchpads. They're becoming intelligent collaborators that amplify what you can create. The real question isn't whether AI will reshape the creative industry anymore. The question is how fast it happens and who's going to be left behind when the tools do the heavy lifting. To understand why this matters, you need to know what Figma actually is. Figma is the world's most popular collaborative design tool. It's where millions of designers create everything from app interfaces to marketing graphics to product mockups. It's free to start with, it runs in your browser, and it lets entire teams work on the same design at the same time, which sounds simple, but was revolutionary when Figma launched it. Before Figma came along, designers worked in tools like Adobe XD or Sketch, and collaboration was messy. You'd email files back and forth. Version control was a nightmare. Figma solved that and became the standard. Today, designers at Apple, Google, Stripe, Figma's basically everywhere. But here's what's interesting: Figma's always been limited to the boundaries of what non-AI tools could do. Motion graphics were impossible. Shaders were completely out of reach. If you wanted to animate something, you'd export it to After Effects, which meant months of extra training and leaving the Figma ecosystem entirely. Now Figma's changing that equation completely. They're not just adding features, they're adding intelligence. And that changes who can do what and how fast they can do it. So what exactly are these new tools, and how do they actually work? Let's start with motion graphics. In Figma, you can now describe an animation you want in plain English, and the AI generates it for you. You type something like "make this logo spin in and grow larger over 2 seconds," and Figma creates the keyframes and timing automatically. It's not perfect every time, but it's genuinely useful for rapid iteration. The second tool is AI shader generation. A shader is basically a piece of code that tells the GPU how to render effects, things like glows, blurs, distortions, color changes. Professional designers and developers can write shaders from scratch, but it takes expertise. Now you can describe what you want, create a holographic shimmer effect, and Figma's AI generates shader code that does it. These aren't pre-made effects you're just applying a filter to. These are custom-generated shaders built specifically for what you're asking for. The way this works under the hood is sophisticated AI models trained on design patterns and motion design principles. Figma's built their own models specifically for this purpose, not just using generic generative AI. They're optimizing for what designers actually need. You get something that understands design context, not just general image generation. It's the difference between a tool that helps you and a tool that gets in your way. Here's what this looks like in practice. A designer at a startup might have a 30-second product demo video they need to create. Historically, this would mean learning motion graphics software, spending a week animating, or paying an animator $1,500 to $3,000. Now, they open Figma, describe what they want, and have a working animation in 15 minutes. A UI designer creating a mobile app mockup might want a smooth loading animation, nothing fancy, just something that feels polished. In After Effects, this is a 2-hour task. In Figma with AI motion graphics, it's 5 minutes. Or imagine a game designer working on visual effects. Before, creating a custom shader for a special ability effect meant hiring a shader programmer. Now they describe it. Maybe create a purple energy blast with trailing particles, and the AI generates something they can use immediately. None of these examples are replacing a professional motion graphics artist who spent years mastering their craft. What they are doing is democratizing the things that didn't need years of expertise. They're letting designers who understand design create motion design. They're enabling rapid experimentation. They're removing the friction between an idea in your head and seeing it come to life. And that's where the real power shows up. When friction disappears, creativity accelerates. How does this compare to existing tools? Let's be honest, Adobe After Effects is the industry standard for motion graphics. If you're a professional, After Effects is genuinely incredible. It gives you complete control, unlimited customization, and a 30-year legacy of battle-tested tools and techniques. The problem is it takes months to get good at. The learning curve is honestly brutal. And it's expensive, $20 a month just for that one app if you're in a Creative Cloud subscription. If you want the whole suite, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, you're looking at $55 monthly. Figma's entire platform is free or $12 a month for teams. So here's the comparison. After Effects is a Formula One race car. Figma with AI motion graphics is a Tesla. The race car will always win if you know how to drive it. But the Tesla gets you 90% of the performance 95% of the way, and literally anyone can drive it. For professional animators, nothing changes. They'll keep using After Effects. For everyone else, product designers, UI designers, content creators, startup founders, Figma becomes the tool they can actually use. And here's where it gets complicated. That's a massive market change. What does this mean for the design industry? The short answer is massive disruption. Think about the design job market right now. There are motion graphics specialists who charge $5,000 to $15,000 per project. Freelance animators are booked out months in advance. The bottleneck isn't talent, it's that motion graphics is genuinely hard to do well. Now, that bottleneck disappears. A product designer can create what used to require a specialist. A startup that could never afford a motion graphics person can now do it themselves. That doesn't mean motion graphics jobs vanish. What it means is the market changes. The really good animators who understand art direction, pacing, and storytelling will thrive. But the commodity motion graphics work, that we need a loading animation or make this button scale up, that gets automated. And that's already happening in the industry with generative AI. The jobs that survive are the ones that require human judgment and artistic vision. The jobs that disappear are the ones that are purely mechanical. It's the same pattern we've seen with every technology jump. The design industry will have to adapt. Tools get better, workflows change, skill requirements change. Some designers will embrace this immediately and become 10 times more productive. Others will struggle, but that's technology. So how do you actually use these features? The UI is surprisingly simple. You open Figma, create a design, and when you want to add motion, you just describe it. Type fade in over 1 second and Figma generates the animation. You can then tweak the timing, the easing curve, the keyframes. It gives you the starting point and you refine from there. For shaders, it's the same concept. You describe what you want. The AI generates shader code. You see it applied to your design in real time. If you don't like it, you iterate. You can describe a change and regenerate, or you can hand-edit the code if you know shader programming. The really interesting part is that these aren't one-shot generations. You can iterate multiple times until you get exactly what you want. The AI doesn't just generate and disappear. It's a collaborative partner. You describe, it generates, you refine. It learns context from your adjustments. Designers I've talked to say the biggest surprise is how fast the iteration loop becomes. You have an idea, you test it immediately, you see if it works. That rapid feedback changes how you approach the work. Instead of planning everything in your head and executing perfectly, you can experiment and explore. And exploration is where the best creative work comes from. Here's what to take away from this. Design tools are getting smarter, and that's accelerating the entire creative process. What used to take weeks now takes days. What took days now takes hours, and that compression is only going to speed up. Figma's move here isn't isolated. Every major design tool will add AI capabilities in the next 12 months. Adobe's going to integrate AI deeper into After Effects. Sketch will follow, and smaller tools will play catch-up. The competitive advantage goes to whoever builds the most natural, most useful AI collaboration experience. But the bigger picture is this: AI is moving into the tools we use to make things, not replacing the people who use them. The designer still makes the decisions. The AI just makes the boring parts faster. That's the version of AI disruption that actually works, augmentation, not replacement. Figma's betting on that. And they're probably right. If you're a designer, you don't need to panic about your job disappearing. What you do need to do is get comfortable with these tools as fast as possible. Learn Figma if you haven't already. Experiment with motion graphics. Test the AI features. The ones who embrace this first will ship 10 times faster than everyone else. And in a creative industry, speed is everything.